Deep underground, 12 miners disappeared. One icy morning of January, a normal work shift became a nightmare. An explosion trapped them in the mine, leaving them in darkness with less air to breathe. Would anyone hear their calls for help? This is the story of the Sago Mine disaster and one man's fight to survive against all odds. Before we dive into today's video, make sure to hit the bell icon so you don't miss any updates. We upload daily. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and join our amazing community. Now, let's get started. The Sago Mine is located at the Sago, West Virginia, United States, near the Upshur County seat of Buchanan. Anchor West Virginia Mining operated the Sago Mine. On March 23, 2006, Sam Kitts, vice president of the company, testified to the U.S. Mine Safety and Health Administration, MSHA, about the company's structure. Sago is part of Wolf Run Mining Company, a subsidiary of Hunter Ridge Mining Company, which is under ICG. International Coal Group, ICG, was created in May 2004 by investor Wilbur Ross. Ross and his group bought many assets from Horizon Natural Resources in a bankruptcy auction. ICG produces coal from 12 mining complexes in Kentucky, Maryland, and West Virginia, and one in Illinois. Ross, with 4 other investors as New Coal LLC, wanted Horizon's non-union properties, but not its union operations. The bankruptcy court allowed Horizon to end its union contracts, including pensions. In March 2005, ICG agreed to buy Anchor Coal Group. In 2005, the Sago Mine was specified 208 times by MSHA for regulation violations, up from 68 in 2004. Of these, 96 were considered significant and substantial, S&S. The Charleston Gazette reported that the Sago Mine had a history of roof falls. MSHA found 52 violations from April to June, 31 of which were S&S. From July to September, there were 70 violations, with 42 being S&S. From October to December, MSHA issued 46 citations and 3 orders, with 18 considered S&S. Violations included not following roof control and mine ventilation plans, and issues with emergency escapeways and pre-shift safety exams. S&S violations are likely to cause serious injury. Initially, MSHA's website stated none of the violations were immediate risks, and all but 3 related to roof support and were fixed by the accident's time. However, it now states several 2005 violations were significant and due to high negligence, causing MSHA to stop mining in affected areas until the issues were fixed. In 2005, mining operations at the Sago Mine more than doubled, and the injury rate was much higher than the national average. This led MSHA to increase its inspections and enforcement by 84%. As a result, MSHA took 208 enforcement actions, requiring the mine to quickly fix health and safety violations. David McAteer, former Assistant Secretary for Mine Safety, told the Gazette that the high number of violations indicated serious issues. He said the frequent roof falls suggested poor roof support. On January 3, 2006, Bruce Watsman of the National Mining Association told Anderson Cooper 360 that many violations could be minor, like paperwork errors. However, McAteer argued in the Christian Science Monitor that the S&S violations showed serious problems. Ellen Smith, editor of Mine Safety and Health News, noted that Sago's accident rate was 17.4 in 2005, with 16 miners and contractors injured. In 2004, the rate was 15.90, while the national average was 5.66. In comparison, Kingston Mining No. 1 mine had an accident rate of 1.21 in 2005. On January 2, 2006, around 6:30 a.m., a massive explosion ripped through the Sago Mine at the start of the first shift after the New Year's holiday. A mine fire boss had examined the mine at 5:50 a.m. and cleared it for use. 2 carts of miners were heading into the mine to begin work. The likely cause of the explosion was a buildup of methane gas, a flammable gas that can naturally occur in coal mines. When this gas mixes with air and is ignited by a spark, it can cause a powerful explosion. The blast was so strong that it caused tunnels to collapse, trapping 12 miners deep underground. Fortunately, one miner, who was closer to the exit, managed to escape. The trapped miners knew they were in grave danger. The explosion likely damaged the mine's ventilation system, cutting off their fresh air supply. They also had to worry about the buildup of poisonous carbon monoxide gas. The situation was terrifying. Thankfully, the mine had a curtain, a large sheet of fireproof material. The miners used this curtain to seal themselves in a small chamber, hoping it would hold back the bad air long enough for rescuers to reach them. Early reports suggested a thunderstorm in the area at the time, with lightning strikes near the mine possibly igniting the methane. Sensors detected at least 2 cloud-to-ground lightning strikes near the mine. Another theory was that lightning struck a methane well previously drilled from the surface, which could have ignited the methane. Methane wells extract methane from coal seams and can form sealed areas when methane levels are high. Storm systems with low atmospheric pressure can cause more methane to escape from these areas. Winter air, being drier and less dense, creates a drier mine environment, which has been known to contribute to past mine fires and explosions. 14 men on the second cart escaped the initial explosion. The 12 trapped miners were on the first cart, which had apparently passed the explosion point. The foreman on the second cart, whose brother was among the trapped, along with the mine superintendent and 3 others, entered the mine to rescue them. They reached 9,000 feet into the mine before their air quality detectors indicated too much carbon monoxide to proceed. Additionally, repairs they made to ventilation controls raised fears that increasing fresh air to the interior of the mine might cause a second explosion. The trapped miners faced a horrifying and uncertain wait in the dark, unsure if help would arrive in time. After the explosion, the mining company didn't call a specialized rescue team until 8:04 a.m., which was more than 90 minutes later. They informed MSHA at 8:30 a.m., beginning calls at 7:40 a.m. MSHA made calls at 8:10 a.m. to staff who were away for the holiday. MSHA personnel arrived at 10:30 a.m., and the first rescue crew came 10 minutes after that. Rescuers were delayed for 12 hours due to high levels of carbon monoxide, CO, and methane gas in the mine. Tests conducted through drilled holes from the surface showed CO levels of 1,300 parts per million where the miners were last known. Levels above 200 parts per million are considered unsafe. Each miner had a self-contained self-rescuer, SCSR, that supplied 1 hour of breathable air. Emergency supplies were kept in 55-gallon drums within the mine. Even after the gases decreased, rescue teams moved carefully, continuously checking for dangers like water seeping in, explosive gases, and unstable roofs. They moved slowly at about 1,000 feet per hour, checking every 500 feet, and turned off their phones to avoid sparks. MSHA sent a 13,000-pound robot into the mine, but had to pull it out when it got stuck 2,600 feet in. After searching for more than 9 hours, rescue teams left the mine around 3:40 a.m. on January 3rd. They left because turning on the mine's air monitoring system could cause another explosion due to bad air quality. A hole being drilled to check air quality could also set off methane because of the hot drill bit. Teams returned at 6:22 a.m. The 13 trapped miners were about 2 miles inside the mine, approximately 280 feet below ground. They were trying to navigate through narrow passages that were 5.5 feet high. By 12:40 p.m. on January 3rd, rescue teams had reached 10,200 feet into the mine. It was estimated that the trapped miners were somewhere between 11,000 to 13,000 feet from the entrance. To locate the miners, 2 holes measuring 6.25 inches in diameter were drilled from the surface into the suspected areas. Microphones and video cameras were lowered into these holes for 10-minute intervals, but no signs of life were detected. Air quality tests conducted through the first hole on January 3rd showed carbon monoxide, CO, levels of 1,300 parts per million, which officials described as very discouraging. A third hole hit the groundwater and could not be drilled all the way down. However, the miners were trained to find a safe area in the mine and barricade themselves there in case of an emergency like an explosion or collapse. Miners are equipped with self-contained self-rescuers, SCSRs, providing 1 hour of oxygen. The first indication of the miners' condition came around 5 p.m. on January 3rd when it was reported that a body had been found. Due to the location, some believed it was Terry Helms, the fire boss. Later that night, around midnight, rumors spread that 12 of the 13 miners had been found alive. However, 30 minutes later, the rescue team informed company officials that this initial report was incorrect. Early on January 4th, 41 hours after the incident began, rescuers found 12 miners dead. Randall L. McCloy Jr. was alive but in critical condition. The other miners were found about 4 kilometers inside the mine, behind a makeshift barricade in a section known as the second left part. About 3 hours later, company CEO Bennett Hatfield confirmed McCloy was the only survivor. This was the first official announcement since the miners were found. After the first reports of survivors, ambulances and the hospital emergency room were ready. Hatfield said carbon monoxide levels where the miners were found were between 300 to 400 parts per million when rescuers arrived. This is close to the safe limit to support life for 15 minutes. Hatfield suggested carbon monoxide poisoning likely caused the deaths. He stressed the company's commitment to supporting a thorough investigation by federal and state mining officials. Of the 13 miners trapped at the Sago Mine, only Randall L. McCloy Jr., 26, survived. He was rescued around 1:30 a.m. on January 4th and taken to St. Joseph's Hospital in Buchanan, West Virginia. After stabilizing there, McCloy was transferred by ambulance later that morning to West Virginia University's Ruby Memorial Hospital in Morgantown, about 50 miles away. McCloy suffered from carbon monoxide poisoning, a collapsed lung, brain hemorrhaging, swelling, muscle injuries, and problems with his liver and heart. It was a harrowing ordeal for him and his family as doctors fought to save his life and treat his severe injuries. On the evening of January 5th, McCloy was shifted to Allegheny General Hospital in Pittsburgh. There, he received oxygen treatments in a special chamber to help with the effects of carbon monoxide poisoning. He returned to Ruby Memorial Hospital on January 7th and remained in a coma. By January 18th, doctors noted signs that McCloy was slowly waking up. On January 25th, they reported that he was turning up from the coma, although he still couldn't speak. On January 26, 2006, West Virginia hospitals announced that McCloy had been shifted from Ruby Memorial Hospital to Health South Mountain View Regional Rehabilitation Hospital in Morgantown. He was under the care of specialists focusing on rehabilitation. While he was responsive and able to eat, McCloy still couldn't speak. McCloy made significant progress after months of intensive physical therapy. However, he still had problems with his vision and hearing, and he also felt weakness on the right side of his body. The 12 miners who tragically lost their lives were honored with private funerals held from January 8th to 10th, 2006. A public memorial service took place on January 15th at West Virginia Wesleyan College in Buchanan. Over 2,000 people attended the service, which was broadcast live on CNN. Governor Joe Manchin and West Virginia author Homer Hickam spoke at the memorial. Senators Robert Byrd and Jay Rockefeller, along with Representative Shelley Capito, also attended to pay their respects, though they did not speak. McCloy wrote a letter to the families of the victims, published in the Charleston Gazette on April 28, 2006. He remembered that 3 weeks before the explosion, he and Junior Toller found a gas pocket while drilling. Gas detectors showed there was methane. They stopped drilling and told their bosses about it. The next day, McCloy saw that the gas leak had been fixed with glue meant for bolts. On January 2, 2006, right after stepping off the man trip, McCloy described how the mine quickly filled with smoke and fumes, making it difficult to breathe. He mentioned that at least 4 emergency oxygen packs weren't working. McCloy shared his oxygen with Jerry Groves, while others like Toller, Jesse Jones, and Tom Anderson asked fellow miners for help. Because the air was getting dangerous, they had to give up trying to escape and went back to a coal rib. There, they put up a curtain to protect themselves, making a small enclosed space about 35 feet wide. They tried to signal their location to the rescuers by hitting the mine bolts and plates. They got a big hammer and started hitting turn by turn for a while. It made them breathe harder because they had to take off their rescue gear to hit as hard as they could. They didn't hear anything back from above. After getting tired, they stopped signaling. The air behind the curtain got worse, so I tried to lie low and take shallow breaths. I could tell it was full of gas. Toller and Anderson tried to find a way out but quickly came back due to heavy smoke and fumes. There was just too much gas. At that point, despite their fears, we started to accept our fate. Toller led us in the sinner's prayer. We prayed a bit longer, then someone suggested that all of us should write letters to our loved ones. McCloy felt very dizzy and lightheaded. Some drifted into what looked like a deep sleep, and one person near me collapsed off his bucket, not moving. It was clear I couldn't help him. The last person I remember talking to was Jackie Weaver, who comforted me, saying, if it was our time to go, it was God's will. As my trapped co-workers lost consciousness one by one, the room grew quiet, and I just sat, waiting, unable to do much else. I don't know how much time passed before I also passed out from the gas and smoke, waiting for rescue. On January 5th, notes written by some of the miners who passed away were given to their families. West Virginia Governor Joe Manchin came to the Sago site on January 2nd. Congresswoman Shelley Moore Capito was also there with other officials and family members. The Mine Safety and Health Administration had about 25 people there at all times, according to their website. On March 11, 2006, the Associated Press stated that federal inspectors had given approval for the Sago Mine to reopen the day before. According to the Village Voice on March 16th, the mine resumed operations. The newspaper criticized this decision, pointing out that the cause of the explosion was still unknown and questioning whether the mine was safe from similar accidents. Despite concerns, both federal and state safety officials allowed the reopening to proceed. ICG shut down the mine on March 19, 2007, as reported. Then, on December 12, 2008, they announced through their website that the mine would be permanently closed. On January 9, 2006, Governor Joe Manchin appointed J. David McAteer, a former Assistant Secretary for Mine Safety and Health, to lead a state investigation into the Sago Mine disaster. The investigative committee included former miner Mike Caputo, Eustace Frederick, Bill Hamilton, Senators Jeff Kessler, Shirley Love, and Don Carruth. Governor Manchin initially scheduled a hearing for March 14, 2006, but it was postponed to May 2nd at the request of some miners' families. McAteer emphasized the need for a thorough investigation to gather all relevant facts. The U.S. Department of Labor, through MSHA, launched its own investigation on January 4, 2006, to determine the cause of the explosion and ensure future safety. They formed an independent team to inspect the site, interview personnel, review records, and examine equipment. On January 18, 2006, International Coal Group, ICG, objected to United Mine Workers of America, UMWA, participation in the investigation. UMWA President Cecil Roberts denied any manipulation and defended their role under MSHA regulations. A federal court later ruled in favor of UMWA's involvement. The investigation prompted public scrutiny of MSHA's Freedom of Information Act, FOIA policy regarding mine safety inspector notes. Following criticism, MSHA adjusted its policy to release inspector notes once citations were issued, rather than withholding them until litigation concluded. Various congressional hearings were held to investigate mine safety practices and the handling of the Sago disaster. Lawmakers sought to ensure comprehensive oversight and prevent future tragedies in the mining industry. For more than 40 long hours, families waited anxiously outside the mine. Every sound of machinery, every glimpse of light from below filled them with hope. They wondered, would their loved ones come out alive? At last, after a tough struggle against obstacles and the ticking clock, rescue teams managed to get through. But what they found was heartbreaking. 12 miners had passed away due to the poisonous air, their hopes and futures gone in the dark, cold depths. Only one miner, Randall McCloy, barely showed signs of life. Paramedics hurried him to the hospital, a flicker of hope in the darkness. Doctors fought hard to save him. Weeks later, he woke up to his wife Anna's tearful hug. Randall's recovery was long and tough. Although he survived, the mine took a toll on him. He lost his friends, his fellow miners. But with Anna by his side, he relearned how to walk, how to talk, how to live. The Sago Mine disaster reminds us of the bravery of miners and the risks they face daily. It's a tale of sacrifice, of enduring love in the face of tragedy, and of the indomitable human spirit that fights to survive against all odds. Imagine being trapped hundreds of feet underground, with tons of rock sealing you in. No sunlight, no fresh air, and who knows if anyone even knows you're down there. That's the terrifying situation 33 miners faced in Chile in 2010. But this isn't just a story of disaster. It's a story of hope, human resilience, and a daring rescue operation that gripped the entire world. In this video, we'll take you down into the depths of the San Jose mine, where these miners were trapped for 69 long days. We'll explore how they survived, the incredible efforts to bring them back to safety, and the emotional reunion that followed. This is a story that will leave you amazed by the human spirit and the power of teamwork. So buckle up and get ready to be amazed by the Chilean mining rescue. Chile is the world's leading copper producer, thanks to its long history in mining. However, mining accidents are unfortunately common. On a average, 34 people have died in mining accidents in Chile each year since 2000. The San Esteban Mining Company, CMSC, which owns the mine, has a reputation for running unsafe operations. Between 1998 and 2010, 8 workers died at the San Jose site. CMSC was fined 42 times from 2004 to 2010 for not following safety rules. The mine was briefly closed in 2007 due to a lawsuit from a miner's family, but reopened in 2008 despite safety concerns. Before the recent collapse, there were only 3 inspectors for the Atacama region's 884 mines due to budget limitations. On August 5, 2010, at afternoon in Chile's Atacama Desert, a seemingly ordinary day for the 33 miners working underground turned into a nightmare. Miners working deep inside a mountain, excavating for copper, gold, and other minerals, started feeling vibrations. Suddenly, there was a massive explosion, and the passageways of the mine filled up with a gritty dust cloud. As the dust cleared, the men saw the cause of the explosion. A huge block of rock, towering as high as a 45-story building, had broken away from the mountain and crashed down into the mine, triggering a chain reaction as the mountain above it started to collapse as well. Panic could have easily set in, but Luis Urzua, the shift supervisor, emerged as a leader. He knew they had to stay calm and conserve their limited supplies. Luckily, a refuge chamber, a small, secure room built for emergencies, had survived the collapse. Luis guided the men there, where they found a short supply of food, water, and medicine. Above ground, there was chaos everywhere. Rescuers rushed to help right away, but old maps of the mine and the huge piles of rock made it really hard. The families of the trapped miners camped outside the mine, hoping and praying. Their worried faces were shown on news channels all over the world. As days passed and turned into weeks, there was no news from the trapped miners. Then, a note was found attached to a drill bit pulled back to the surface. It was incredible. All 33 miners were alive. This news brought immense relief to people everywhere. That small note became a symbol of hope and showed how strong the miners were. However, the miners' fight was far from over. Communicating with them was difficult, but a system was devised using a borehole with a capsule carrying messages and supplies. Engineers worked tirelessly on a daring rescue plan. They needed to drill a shaft wide enough to bring each miner safely back to the surface. It was a slow and meticulous process, filled with technical challenges and the constant fear of another collapse. While underground, life was tough for the miners. They fought against boredom, fear of what might happen, and the difficulty of living in a small space with not much to go around. But they stayed positive. They made their food last longer, wrote down what was happening each day, and even celebrated a birthday for one of their friends. Their strong bond and never-give-up attitude helped them stay hopeful, even in the darkest times. Above ground, the Chilean government, under immense pressure, played a crucial role in coordinating the rescue. International experts offered their expertise, and companies from around the world provided vital equipment. The world watched with bated breath, united in their support for the trapped miners. After 69 very long days, there was finally some hope. The first custom-built capsule, nicknamed Phoenix, emerged from the ground, carrying one of the miners to safety. Over the next 36 hours, in a meticulously planned operation, all 33 miners were brought back to the surface one by one. The celebrations that followed showed how people can beat really tough challenges when they work together. It was a powerful reminder of the strength of the human spirit. The Chilean mining accident of 2010 is a powerful reminder that, even in the darkest moments, hope can persevere. It's a testament to the strength of the human spirit, the power of collaboration, and the unwavering love of families. These 33 miners became symbols of resilience, showing the world that even when buried deep beneath the earth, the human will to survive can shine through. If you're ever feeling lost or trapped in your own challenges, remember the story of the Chilean miners. Remember their resilience, their hope, and their unwavering belief in rescue. There's always light at the end of the tunnel, and with determination and the support of loved ones, you can overcome anything. Thanks for joining us on this journey. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the like button and subscribe the channel for more videos. Till then, stay safe out there.